Ratios and graphing. Let's think about what we know. There are three ways to write a ratio. Word form, x to y. Colon form, x colon y. And fraction form, x over y. How can we use what we know about making equivalent fractions to make equivalent ratios? Since we can write ratios as fractions, we can make equivalent ratios by writing them as fractions and following the same steps. How do we make equivalent fractions? We need to multiply by 1. What does that mean? Whatever I do to the top, I must do to the bottom. Or what I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. Let's work some examples. There are 35 students to 20 adults. What is the ratio? 35 over 20. Is this ratio in simplest form? No. Is there a factor that goes into both 35 and 20? 5. When I'm simplifying, I'm going to want to divide. To make the simplest form, we need to divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number. 35 divided by 5 is 7, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. Therefore, our equivalent ratio is 7/4, or 7 over 4. Since there's a factor that goes into both numbers, you can simplify the ratio. Since 5 goes into both 35 and 20, you can divide both by 5 and get 7 over 4. Therefore, if there are 35 students to 20 adults, you could also say the ratio is 7/4. Hold up. Wait a minute. Before we move on, what is a factor? Numbers that can be multiplied together to create the original number. Factors of 15. 1 times 15 equals 15. 3 times 5 equals 15. So the factors of 15 are 1, 3, 5, and 15. 2 and 3 multiply together to get 6. So 3 and 2 are factors of 6, and 6 is the product. 5 times 4 equals 20. So 5 is a factor of 20. 4 is a factor of 20. 20 is a multiple of 4 and a multiple of 5. Let's work some examples. 2 puppies and 5 kittens are all at the animal shelter. What is the ratio? 2 over 5. Is the ratio in simplest form? Is there a factor for both 2 and 5? Nothing else goes into both numbers, so it is in simplest form. Are there only 2 puppies in the animal shelter? Probably not. It is a ratio, and this could be the simplest form. So what would be a possibility for the answer? I want to multiply by 1, so I need to multiply the same number on the bottom as on the top. Let's pick an easy one. Times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and 5 times 2 is 10. So our new ratio is 4/10, which would mean 4 puppies to 10 kittens. Could we use an input-output chart to create a pattern for our ratios? Absolutely. How can we use input-output chart to demonstrate the pattern shown with equivalent ratios using this ratio? 2 puppies and 5 kittens are in the animal shelter. We already figured out this was the original ratio, 2 to 5. When we multiplied by 2, we got 4 and 10. What if we took the original ratio multiplied by 3? We would get 6 over 15. Multiplied it by 4, 8 over 20. And 2 to 10 would be times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Then we can take what we know and plot the information on a coordinate grid, which is the X, the puppies, and which is the Y, the kittens. Now we want to take our information from our input-output table and we want to place it on our coordinate grid. So we're going to look across the horizontal x-axis and we find 2. Then we go up to 5. That's where we will plot our first point. Again, 4 is our next x, so we go across to 4, up to 10. Next one would be 6, 15. So we go to 6, 15. Across 8, up to 20. Across to 10, up to 25. Grayson completes 2 online math assignments in an hour. How many could he complete in up to 4 hours? Looking at the question, our ratio is going to be 2 to 1 because it's 2 assignments per 1 hour. We're wanting to know how much he could complete in up to 4 hours. We need to create an input-output chart. If we had 2 hours, we want to multiply by 2. So we multiply the top number and the bottom number by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. Going back to the original ratio, 2 to 1. If he spent 3 hours, we would multiply each of those by 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 1 times 3 is 3. Lastly, if he spent 4 hours on assignments, he can get 2 done an hour. 2 times 4 is 8, and 1 times 4 is 4. Taking our information from the input-output table, looking at assignments are going to be X, and hours would be Y. We're going to go across for our assignments, and we're going to go up for hours. So 2 across 2, up 1. Across 4, up 2. Across 6, up 3. As we can see, this pattern would continue throughout a coordinate plane. I hope this helps you.